everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Heather and this is where we talk about all things books. Okay, so today I'm going to start with my yearly goals because it just ties into my January TBR as well. So we'll start with the yearly goals. First things first, last year, it has actually been a year since I started recording these videos. That's amazing. I can't believe I actually made it a year. So my main reason of why I started this YouTube channel was because I wanted to get back into reading. I have loved reading for as long as I can remember, and because of life and kids and having a family, I actually stopped reading as much. And this last year, actually not this year because it's not 2023 anymore, last year I wanted to get back into reading so I could find my love of reading again. And I have, mostly. I decided to do YouTube videos to go along with reading for the year, so I would be more motivated to read, because if I was reading, or in order to make videos, I had to read. So it was kind of one of those, I wanted to make these videos, but I need to read also. So it both kept each other in check and in balance. And so I liked that about it. I have had a lot of fun over this past year, and I hope you have too. I have grown a lot, and I have seen and learned things that I like and what I don't like in books. Whereas as a teenager and child, I read anything and everything, and even if I wasn't really feeling a book, I would continue reading it. And I found out last year that wasn't the thing for me anymore. If I'm not feeling a book, I don't want to have to keep reading it. And so that's where I am starting with in January, or in my yearly goals, is if I am not liking a book, I will not finish the book. I'm going to put it down and put it aside and move on to something else, because there's no sense in wasting my time if I'm not enjoying the book. It just may not be a good pick for me, and that's okay. But I am going to focus this year on finding things that work for me and that pull me in, instead of it being a struggle bus a lot of the time. Because that's what half of my year was last year, was a struggle to read, because I wasn't liking the books that I found that were popular. And so I was having to read those books anyway, or felt like I had to read those books anyway, because I told you I was reading them for my TBR. And this year, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to straight up tell you guys, I don't like this book. It's not for me. I'm not reading it. So that is one of my main goals for this year, is to only read what I want to read. If I don't want to read it, if I decide 3 chapters in that I'm not feeling this, I may give it a couple more chapters or a few more chapters. But other than that, I'm not going to read it if I'm not feeling it. Now, the next goal that I have is, I'm not going to do those TBRs. I may do themes and then go look for books for themes, or if there's a book that has just been drawing me in, I will be like, hey, this is the book I'm reading. You can follow along, but this is what I want to read. And so there's that. And I'm also not going to do big lengthy TBRs, which I started doing last year at the beginning of the year, and then found myself stressing out when I couldn't get to all the books in my TBR. So I'm going to basically focus on 1 to 2 books this year, or every month, and probably a manga as well, whatever manga that I want to read during that time. Now, I may not do a manga every single month, but I do want to incorporate manga because I do enjoy reading it. It has always been something that's drawn me in, and I want to incorporate that back into my reading as well, because I have found that I do enjoy it so much. but I will let you all know as I'm going through what exactly I want to read. That way, if you want to read, you can read along with, or if you want to read along with me, and we can discuss it in the comments once I upload my end of the month wrap up or the review, whatever it is. I'm okay with that. And that's the way I want to do this year. And I think it would be a lot less stressful because then I can just go and find a book, because that's the joy of reading, is just going and browsing and finding that one book that calls to you, and you sit down and you read it, and then you're like, I really enjoyed this book. I'm so glad that I picked it up. But last year, most of the ones I went off of were based on reviews on Bookstagram or YouTube, or reviews on YouTube, all of that. And a lot of them I just didn't like. They weren't for me. They weren't for me. So I'm going to go less on that and more about looking around and finding books that I want to read and read the descriptions, and instead of seeing what people say about it, and focus on what I want. I am excited for this year. So moving on from that and going on to my January TBR. I have a lot of fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to focus on doing 1 to 2 books a month, and then also a manga if I can fit it in, or if I decide to just read a manga and not a book, that's okay too. That's what I'm going to end up doing. My focus is just reading what I'm enjoying in that moment, and if I'm not enjoying it, it's going to go. So first things first is I am currently reading the Apothecary Diaries, and I am going to continue reading it for this month. If I finish it, that's great. If not, I'll carry on into February with it. But so far I am thoroughly enjoying it, and I do plan on continuing with it. I actually watched the anime, what the episodes they had out. I think they only have like 11 or 12 episodes. I watched those a few weeks ago when my whole family was sick, and I laughed so hard while watching it. I was like, okay, that's it. I've got to read this. And so that's what I'm doing. I am reading Apothecary Diaries, and I am loving it. It has a lot of historical things in it for China, Asian cultures. And so it is honestly very interesting to me. I love historical fictions, and so it is very interesting to me. So moving on from that, and then the books that I want to read this month is, I'm going to get back to the Keeper of the Lost Cities books. I need to read book 3, and maybe I can get to book 4. I'm not really sure, but I should be able to read 3 and 4 this month. Anyway, my children want me to read it so they can discuss it with me, and they've been asking me for the past 2 months or more to read it so they can talk to me about it. And so I plan on reading at least books 3 and 4 this month. If I can get more, great. If not, that's okay too. But that is all that I have for January. Let me know what you are reading for January in the comments, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. That really does help me out, and I will see you all next time. Bye.